Hi, Bridie. It's Gammy Kin again. I've got another story for you. This one is called Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a favorite, and it was a favorite of Unky Nick's when he was a little boy, and I think your daddy really liked it too. It's kind of funny, so if you want to laugh, go for it. I'm going to tell you what you're going to find in this story. It says, in this book you will find Bogus, an enormously fat man, a chicken farmer, and he's a mean man. You'll find Bunce, a pot-bellied dwarf, a duck and goose farmer, a nasty man. Bean, a thin man, a turkey and apple farmer, and a beastly man. Badger, the most respectable and well-behaved animal in the district. Rat, a rude creature and a drunkard. Mrs. Fox and her 4 small children, a fine family, and Mr. Fox, our hero, a fantastic fellow. If you're 3 years old or more, you'll love this extraordinary adventure story, Fantastic Mr. Fox. I'm going to show you this picture. This is Fox's house under the tree. This is Farmer Bogus's house, the first one, Farmer Bunce's house, and this is Farmer Bean's house over here. They live in the countryside. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Chapter 1, The 3 Farmers. Down in the valley there were 3 farms. The owners of these farms had done well. They were rich men. They were also nasty men. All 3 of them were about as nasty and mean as any men you could meet. Their names were Farmer Bogus, Farmer Bunce, and Farmer Bean. Bogus was a chicken farmer. He kept thousands of chickens. He was enormously fat. This was because he ate 3 boiled chickens smothered with dumplings every day for breakfast, lunch, and supper. Bunce was a duck and goose farmer. He kept thousands of ducks and geese. He was a kind of pot-bellied dwarf. He was so short his chin would have been underwater in the shallow end of any swimming pool in the world. His food was donuts and goose livers. He mashed the livers into a disgusting paste and then stuffed the paste into the donuts. This diet gave him a tummy ache and a beastly temper. Bean was a turkey and apple farmer. He kept thousands of turkeys in an orchard full of apple trees. He never ate any food at all. Instead, he drank gallons of strong cider, which he made from the apples in his orchard. He was as thin as a pencil and the cleverest of them all. Bogus and Bunce and Bean, one fat, one short, one lean. These horrible crooks, so different in looks, were none the less equally mean. That is what the children round about used to sing when they saw them. Here's the cider. Here's the cider. Here's the goose. And here's an egg. Or maybe is it the donut stuffed with a paste? Chapter 2, Mr. Fox. On a hill above the valley there were woods. In the woods there was a huge tree. Under the tree was a hole. In the hole lived Mr. Fox and Mrs. Fox and their 4 small foxes. Every evening, as soon as it got dark, Mr. Fox would say to Mrs. Fox, "Well, my darling, what shall it be this time? A plump chicken from Bogus? A duck or a goose from Bunce? Or a nice turkey from Bean?" And when Mrs. Fox had told him what she wanted, Mr. Fox would creep down into the valley in the darkness of the night and help himself. Bogus and Bunce and Bean knew very well what was going on, and it made them wild with rage. They were not men who liked to give anything away. Less still did they like anything to be stolen from them. So every night, each of them would take his shotgun and hide in a dark place somewhere on his own farm, hoping to catch the robber. But Mr. Fox was too clever for them. He always approached a farm with the wind blowing in his face, and this meant that if any man were lurking in the shadows ahead, the wind would carry the smell of that man to Mr. Fox's nose from far away. Thus, if Mr. Bogus were hiding behind chicken house number 1, Mr. Fox would smell him out from 50 yards off and quickly change direction, heading for chicken house number 4 at the other end of the farm. "Dang and blast that lousy beast," cried Bogus. "I'd like to rip his guts out," said Bunce. "He must be killed," cried Bean. "But how?" said Bogus. "How on earth can we catch the blighter?" Bean picked his nose delicately with a long finger. "I have a plan," he said. "You've never had a decent plan yet," said Bunce. "Shut up and listen," said Bean. "Tomorrow night we will all hide just outside the hole where the fox lives. We will wait there until he comes out. Then, bang, 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 bang." "Very clever," said Bunce. "But first we shall have to find the hole." "My dear Bunce, I've already found it," said the crafty Bean. "It's up in the woods on the hill. It's under a huge tree." Uh-oh. There's the fox's house under the big tree. Chapter 3, The Shooting. "Well, my darling," said Mr. Fox, "what shall it be tonight?" I think we'll have duck tonight," said Mrs. Fox. "Bring us 2 fat ducks, if you please, 1 for you and me, and 1 for the children." "Ducks it shall be," said Mr. Fox. "Bunce's best." "Now do be careful," said Mrs. Fox. "My darlings," said Mr. Fox, "I can smell those goons a mile away. I can even smell one from the other. Bogus gives off a filthy stink of rotten chicken skins. Bunce reeks of goose livers, and as for Bean, the fumes of apple cider hang around him like poisonous gases." "Yes, but just don't get careless," said Mrs. Fox. "You know they'll be waiting for you, all 3 of them." "Don't you worry about me," said Mr. Fox. "I'll see you later." But Mr. Fox would not have been quite so cocky had he known exactly where the 3 farmers were waiting at that moment. They were just outside the entrance to the hole, each one crouching behind a tree with his gun loaded. And what is more, they had chosen their positions very carefully, making sure that the wind was not blowing from them toward the fox's hole. In fact, it was blowing in the opposite direction. There was no chance of them being smelled out. Mr. Fox crept up the dark tunnel to the mouth of his hole. He poked his long, handsome face out into the night air and sniffed once. He moved an inch or 2 forward and stopped. He sniffed again. He was always especially careful when coming out from his hole. He inched forward a little more. The front half of his body was now in the open. His black nose twitched from side to side, sniffing and sniffing for the scent of danger. He found none, and he was just about to go trotting forward into the woods when he heard, or thought he heard, a tiny noise, a soft rustling sound, as though someone had moved a foot ever so gently through a patch of dry leaves. Mr. Fox flattened his body against the ground and lay very still, his ears pricked. He waited a long time, but he heard nothing more. It must been a field mouse, he told himself, or some other small animal. He crept a little further out of the hole. Then, further still. He was almost right out in the open now. He took that last careful look around. The woods were murky and very still. Somewhere in the sky, the moon was shining. Just then, his sharp night eyes caught a glint of something bright behind a tree, not far away. It was a small silver speck of moonlight shining on a polished surface. Mr. Fox lay still, watching it. What on earth was it? Now it was moving. It was coming up and up. Great heavens! It was the barrel of a gun. Quick as a whip, Mr. Fox jumped back into his hole, and at the same instant, the entire woods seemed to explode around him. Bang, 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 bang. The smoke from the 3 guns floated upward in the night air. Bogus and Bunce and Bean came out from behind their trees and walked toward the hole. "Did we get him?" said Bean. One of them shone a flashlight on the hole. And there in the light, in the circle of light, half in and half out of the hole, lay the poor, tattered, blood-stained remains of a fox's tail. Bean picked it up. "We got the tail, but we missed the fox," he said, tossing the thing away. "Dang and blast," said Bogus. "We shot too late. We should have let fly the moment he poked his head out." "He won't be poking it out again in a hurry," Bunce said. Bean pulled a flask from his pocket and took a swig of cider. Then he said, "It'll take 3 days at least before he gets hungry enough to come out again. I'm not sitting around here waiting for that. Let's dig him out." "Ah," said Bogus, "now you're talking sense. We can dig him out in a couple of hours. We know he's in there." "I reckon there's a whole family of them down that hole," Bunce said. "Then we'll have the lot," said Bean. "Get the shovels." I think this is the picture of poor Mr. Fox getting his tail shut off. I bet that hurt, huh? Well, Bridie, we're going to stop there for today, and tomorrow I will read you the next chapter, and we'll find out what happens to Mr. Fox. I love you today. I miss you. I hope you like this story. Let me know what you think. Bye-bye.